This is the Tecno Spark9 Pro, the latest smartphone from Tecno, and honestly it is quite a big leap from past generation. So for just around $166, could the Tecno Spark9 Pro be the best budget smartphone out there? Let's find out. Here are the 5 things that I find interesting about this phone. Let's begin with the unboxing experience and see what's inside. Right off the bat, we see the phone itself with the Spark9 Pro label on top, a transparent phone case that doesn't really seem to offer the best protection, but it's always nice to have one, a warranty card, an 18-watt charging brick, a Type-A to Type-C charging cable, as well as a pair of 3.5mm wired earbuds. Moving on the phone itself, at the bottom we've got a Type-C port, a mono speaker, as well as a 3.5mm headphone jack. I kind of wish it had a stereo speaker so we can get a more immersive feeling when watching videos, but the mono speaker still gets the job done. On the sides, we have a SIM card tray, as well as your volume buttons and a fingerprint sensor, which is actually quite responsive. When your phone is locked, a gentle tap will quickly unlock your phone, making the whole process very smooth. Also, the phone comes with a screen protector pre-installed, which also gives a welcoming touch to it. Second, let's move on to the design. As we can see, the Spark9 Pro decides to go with a squarish design, which is something I prefer since you can feel that you're actually holding the phone so that it is less likely to slip out of your hand. At the back, we have a kind of dual tone finish to it, with the top camera module having a glossy mirror design, which can sometimes be useful, such as using it as a makeup mirror. As for the camera module, we see it has got a dual ring design to it, which has been kind of popular in recent years. However, that doesn't mean that it has 2 cameras, because only the top ring has the main camera inside, while the other ring only has imaging sensors inside. I'll get to that when we start talking about the camera performance. As for colors, we have multiple colors for the Spark9 Pro, including Quantum Black, Burano Blue, Holy White, and Hacker Storm. I personally like Burano Blue most, especially with the dual tone finish to it. The phone is 8.42mm thick and weighs around 196.3 grams. Moving on to the display, we've got a 6.66-inch 1080p IPS display with 403 pixels per inch and a 90.2% screen-to-body ratio. Unfortunately, it only has a 60Hz refresh rate instead of 90. While 60 is enough for daily use, a 90Hz refresh rate does improve the user experience quite a bit. As you can see in this comparison shot in slow motion, maybe it has to do with screen technology, but I just wish Tecno could bring back the 90Hz refresh rate. Also, we have a water drop notch at the top where the front-facing camera is. I would say it feels pretty minimal and you won't really notice it when watching videos in full screens. Number 4, let's talk about the camera specs. On the back, we have a 50-megapixel main camera in the upper ring, a 2-megapixel bokeh camera, and an AI lens in the lower ring. On the front, we have an upgraded 32-megapixel front-facing camera as well as a front-facing flashlight. In terms of image quality, the 50-megapixel main camera is actually quite decent, especially when you turn on the 50-megapixel mode. As you can see in these test shots, the image just looks way sharper when you switch to the 50-megapixel mode. However, the 50-megapixel mode does take a longer time to capture the image, so make sure you're not shooting something that is fast moving. Finally, we have performance and battery. Spark9 Pro's got a 5000 mAh battery inside, along with the included 18-watt charging brick, which is enough for daily use. Unfortunately, it does not support fast charging, and in my testing, it took around a little more than 2 hours to charge from 10% to 100%. As for the processors, we have the MediaTek Helio G85 with 4GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. In daily use, I feel the processor is good enough to handle most tasks, and as for gaming, I wanted to see if it's possible to play some intensive games on this phone, so I installed Genshin Impact. Turn all settings to medium with 60 frames enabled, and as for the result, well, it's playable, but only just. So don't expect to play some of the most demanding games on this phone, but regular FPS games should be fine. As for the system, it has iOS 8.6 based on Android 12, which means that you see a green light in the upper right corner when your camera or microphone is in use. However, we don't have many customized options, but the theme store does give you some decent choices. Alright, those were the 5 things that you need to know about the Spark9 Pro. If you want to know more about how how other flagship phones like the Vivo X80 Pro performs, click here. And if you want to see reviews of other recent smartphones, click here. And as always, for tech and gadgets, we've got you covered. This is Annalise, over and out.